morning, everyone. Good morning and welcome to the Church of the River. I am Paula Turner and I use she, her pronouns. We are so pleased to have you with us today. And for those watching from home, we welcome you as well. You are all welcome here today. In the rich tapestry of languages, cultures, and diverse hues, each contributing to the mosaic of our shared humanity, you are welcome here. In the myriad ways you navigate and express your gender, in the authenticity of your self-expression, you are welcome here. In the depth and breadth of your love, in the myriad forms it takes, you are welcome here. Whether your heart brims with laughter or weighs heavy with tears, in every emotion you bring to this sacred space, you are welcome here. So come, join us with open minds, loving hearts, and willing hands. Together, we embark on this journey of community and connection. You are welcome here today. If you're new here, we are so glad you found us and hope that in this community you may experience the warmth and love of this congregation. If you'd like to learn more about us, you can find our newcomer form by scanning the QR code in the order of service. And we invite you to pick up a welcome bag from the credenza in the back on your way out. Ron is holding those there for you. And for all, we have QR codes and lots of announcements about the things going on here in the order of service, so please check those out. I now invite the music of our choir to draw us deeper into this moment as we enter into worship together.
Good morning. My name is Lynn Hopkins. It is my great honor to serve this congregation as its interim minister. And I want to echo the welcome and also wish you happy Pride, a little off schedule. This is, of course, the postponed occasion of Pride Festival this afternoon in Overton Park. There is a notice in the white insert in your order of service for times and locations. And I'd like to welcome you into this hour of worship with words from the Reverend Dr. David Breeden. When it feels like lament is the only sound, and need the only way of being here, is that one warm room where you know you belong. You know is waiting, open, ready. Here is that place you remember where you are remembered in this too cold world. This place calls now softly, come into the circle where you know that you belong. Please speak with me the chalice lighting words this morning printed in your order of service. We light this chalice for the challenge of freedom, the goal of equality, and the warmth of community. May all who gather here offer and find As you are willing and able, and join us in singing hymn number 1, the very first one in the book, May Nothing Evil Pass This Door.
Everyone, you may be seated. Good morning again. I am Jessica Lakeman. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve as your acting director of Lifespan Faith Development. It is good to be with you this morning. As always, I welcome down front anyone of any age who would like to come closer for a story. Last week, we told a story about a river and its banks. The river that was a river and its people. The river that was shaped by its banks and the banks that were strengthened by the river's flow. Together we wondered how, like the stones of the riverbank, each of us shapes and steadies the life of this community. In today's story, we revisit that river once again. Once upon a time, not so very long ago, there was a river in a valley. This river was no ordinary river. It was alive in ways not everyone could see. It sparkled under the sun and whispered softly under the moon, flowing through the heart of a community that loved and cherished it. The river brought life to the valley, watering the fields and trees and providing a place for the people to gather, to share stories and reflect on the year gone by. But what many did not know was that the river had a secret. While its waters were clear and strong, it was the stones along the banks that gave the river its shape and purpose. Without the stones to hold its path, the river would spread out, would lose its way, and create chaos. The stones guided the river, allowing it to flow steadily and with strength. One autumn day, the people of the valley gathered for their annual celebration. This year, they each brought a small, smooth stone. Now, these were not just ordinary stones. They held something special. They held the hopes and dreams and intentions that the people had for the year ahead. Before the celebration began, the people stood quietly with their stones. Some held them tightly, feeling the weight of their intentions. Others cradled their stones gently, imagining their hopes floating like leaves on the water. But all of them were ready to offer their intentions to the river and to the community. One by one, the people came forward to the river's edge, where one large communal bowl of water awaited them. Some spoke their hopes aloud as they placed their stones in the water. Others remained silent, letting the water carry the intentions from their heart. With each stone, the bowl grew more vibrant, filled with the community's dreams for the coming year. And when all the stones had been placed, something magical happened. The stones began to whisper. We are more than just stones now. We are the keepers of intentions. We are the holders of dreams. We are the heart of the people. The river was always listening and smiled. It knew the stones were right. And without the people's intentions, without their hope and love, the river would lose its strength and purpose. The stones filled with the dreams of the community were the foundation that supported the river's flow. Now, in the center of the community, the stones that had been gathered all together in a clear vase, something magical happened. 5 green stalks of bamboo began to grow from the stones. The bamboo, tall and vibrant, reached toward the sky just like the community's spirit. The people marveled at how something so strong could grow from simple stones. But the river knew the answer, and soon the people would understand too. The stones, now filled with the community's intentions, had become a foundation for growth. Just as bamboo grows tall and quickly, the community would too. Would grow, nurtured by the dreams and hopes of its people. And every year, the people would return with new stones. And the river, like time, was always moving and always changing. And each year, the community would bring fresh intentions to guide their journey. And the old stones, filled with the hopes of the past year, would rest, having done their part to support the growth of the bamboo. And just as the stones had shaped the river's path, the bamboo's strength was supported by the love and care of the community. And the people came to understand that they were like the stones, each helping to shape the river of their community. Together, they formed a riverbank of love and support, holding their community, helping it grow strong year after year. The bamboo, tall and green, was their spirit, reaching upward, nourished by the dreams and hopes of all who had gathered. And so the stones and bamboo became a symbol, a living reminder that while the river of life may rush on, it is the support of each person, the intentions that they bring that allow it to flow forward with purpose. The very stones in our vase today are the ones that you all offered last week. Now settled, steady, and ready to support the bamboo through this new year. So as you gaze upon these stones and bamboo each week, may you feel the support of this community around you. knowing that each stone, each intention and commitment shape the life that we are building together. Together we grow, and together we thrive. Now, if all of the adults will join me in blessing our children as we send them out to their classes, if you will raise your blessing hands in the air and repeat after me, you are beloved. You are sacred. You are powerful. Go in peace.
So I did tell you ahead of time things were going to start to shift a little bit. Now, we've moved a few things around in the order of service. There is a liturgical science about some of that. And some of it is about what works best with the energy of the service and the power of the choir and our musicians. But one of the most important things that I wanted to initiate here, some of you may have experienced if you've been in other Unitarian Universalist congregations before, because it is done in many, many places in different ways. But I was so delighted when I first read the ingathering story that Jessica wrote around the stones. Stones have always been, I don't know, just something special to me. I think it's in part that, you know, whether they are deeply buried or just breaking through the surface of the dirt, I am aware that these stones have always been. They are made of things that have been part of this earth since before there was anything living and breathing here. So every so often, in times of stress, I pick up a stone and remember everything necessary to support and sustain life is right here. This is where we came from. This is what was here first. And I imagine sometimes that contained within a particular stone is exactly what I need in that moment. One of the most common ways that this ritual is marked, this ritual that we call joys and sorrows, is by taking a stone from a bowl, imbuing it with our intention, and releasing it into the sacred waters of our gathered community. We carry things with us through the week, all sorts of things. And this is a way that we live together in community. Just for this brief hour, we bring forward those things, happy and difficult. hold them and release them into our common space. Now, as we practice this, I'll speak a little bit, not this much. And you will be invited to record on paper things that you would like spoken aloud as part of the congregational prayer. The ushers will take them up as they pass the baskets for the offering, and so you will be able to do that. We didn't incorporate that today because I want you first to just experience the ritual in its barest form. So today, and going forward, I invite you, if you would like to come and release a stone. If you choose, you may speak a word. Just a word. To hold what it is you are letting go into the space in which we gather. And so it looks something like this. This morning, I lift up the family of my sister and her recently deceased spouse as the family gathers in the Chicago area this weekend to celebrate the life of Connie. And today, I recognize broken hearts at so much illness and death that seems pervasive in our society, every so often punctuated by some terrible act of violence. And I grieve for a sense of security and safety in this nation as our own city prepares for a military occupation and other cities reel from its effects. I invite you to come now in silence if you would like. Take a stone and release it into the sacred waters of our gathered community.
Tom Gettelfinger's house, and it was such a great experience and such a great thing that our church does. But anyway, looking forward to more.
This is for my classmate, Julie, who was murdered last week at Auburn while she was walking her dog. So just thinking about her.
I'm just trying to find some community in my life, trying to build that up.
agree with Roy. I went to that supper club last night, and it was just joyful. But today I'm in sorrow because my dog won't eat, and I'm facing losing her.
Celebrating my mother's 80th birthday.
And if there is something that you carry this morning that you wish to share but are not ready to bring forward, it would be my great honor to drop a stone on your behalf if you would just indicate by raising a hand. Please join me in a moment of prayer as we are gathered here this morning. Conscious of so much chaos and turmoil, we remind ourselves of the love and compassion that fills this space. And we would open ourselves to connection. May we step into the vulnerability and risk required. May we breathe in the hope and expectation of the new days ahead. For all of those who are suffering in violence, in sickness, in loss, we lift up their cares. For all of those who celebrate anniversaries and occasions, for those who anticipate what is next, we are grateful for the community that holds us and carries us along. May we be always aware and open to one another, knowing that we may not be prepared for what comes next, but knowing also that together, in the unity of compassion and faith, in the pursuit of justice, we will not merely survive, but emerge and thrive together. May it be so. Amen. Please join with me now. Remain seated as we sing together number 123 in your gray hymnal. This selection is a piece which is prominent throughout the Unitarian Universalist tradition. Many congregations sing it every Sunday, and at least for now, that is my plan to do here. It is a prayer, an invocation, and a dedication that we sing together, Spirit of Life.
Spirit
reading today is from the Reverend Nancy Schaefer, who was a prominent, powerful poet within our tradition, published many books, all of whom I commend to your reading. Because she wanted everyone to feel included in her prayer, she said right at the beginning several names for the holy. Spirit, she said, Holy One, Mystery, God. But then, thinking these weren't enough ways of addressing that which cannot be fully addressed, she added particularities, saying, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, ancient Holy One, mystery we will not ever fully know, gracious God, and also Spirit of this earth, God of Sarah, Gaia, thou. And then, tongue loosened, she fell to naming superlatives as well. Most creative one, greatest source, closest hope. Even though superlatives for the sacred seemed to her probably redundant, but then she couldn't stop. One who made the stars, she said, although she knew technically a number of those present didn't believe the stars had been made by anyone or anything, but just luckily happened. One who is an entire ocean of compassion, she said, and no one laughed. That which has been present since before the beginning, she said, and the room was silent. And then, although she hadn't imagined it this way, others began to offer names. Peace, said one. One my mother knew, said another. Ancestor, said a third. Wind, rain, breath, said one near the back. Refuge, that which holds all. A child said, water. Someone said, Kuan Yin. Then, womb, witness, great kindness, great eagle, eternal stillness. And then, there wasn't any need to say the things she thought would be important to say, and everyone sat hushed until someone said, Amen.
We now take an offering that allows us to exercise that all-important generosity of spirit and to support this church and its many ministries. Donations may be made these ways: by scanning the QR code in your printed order of service, via text to 901-350-2686, or on the website at www.churchoftheriver.org. The gifts of the congregation will now be most gratefully given and received.
It was in the fall of 2014, I think. I and a number of colleagues and lay people were gathered outside the State House in Montgomery, Alabama. It was the beginnings of the Moral Monday movement. And we were trying to form and foster a chapter in Alabama. And the head of the state NAACP asked me if I would say a prayer for us as we prepared to enter the legislature. I've never been excited to pray in public because I know that what I'm conceiving of, what I'm doing, is probably not intelligible to people who adhere to any traditional religious tradition, but I'm always happy to do it. And as I always begin, with an intentional inclusion of everyone, right? Because we've all been party to prayers that have in their conclusion let us know we were not included. And so I always begin knowing that I'm not talking to any one or thing in particular, but I want to be sure that I am drawing everyone present into the same sacred space, here we are gathered, people of many different races, genders, ages, and beliefs. And a young man I don't know, a teenager I think, whispered to an adult I assumed was his mother nearby, "Is that a prayer?" Yes. So I think it's important to understand what we mean when we say that word. And I also think it's terribly important that we do not forfeit the language of mystery that has been claimed by religious orthodoxy. That's our language too. And truths are still truths. Even if those words have been used to injure, scar, or exclude us in the past, the mystery that is real, the truth, the values that hold us, the reason that we gather, all of that is every bit as legitimate. And so I claim that religious language, and yes, I pray. But we do need to be at least a little bit clear as we can be about what we mean when we use these words, so that we are not actually excluding ourselves when we use them. When I say prayer, what I'm talking about is an opening of ourselves in intentional presence, a mindfulness, an awareness of our place in a universe that is so far beyond our comprehension. It's not an understanding of our place in it, because it couldn't possibly be understood, but just an awareness of it, an intention to put ourselves in just that moment, not at the center of the universe, not as the only thing that is or the only thing that matters. Prayer is an act of humility and opening. If we do believe in a deity, so far as I know, every tradition that holds to a belief, at least the monotheistic ones, the deity already knows what's in your head. So even as a child, I wondered why this would be necessary to speak it. And I had to get much older to understand that, yes, it is true. It is true, as my Christian friends say, prayer changes things. But the things it changes are inside the one doing it. It allows us to become aware, to become moved by things that we might otherwise not even notice. And so it can take a lot of forms. Prayer happens walking in the woods, reading a particularly powerful poem or passage, hearing a piece of music that just reaches all the way down into our soul. It happens when I look into the eyes of someone I do not know at all and can see the divine, the sacred spark there. Now, that brings me to something that I did not expect to be talking about when I originally conceived this service a month or so ago. But it is pressing on me. And I'll tell you what, one of the most important lessons I learned in seminary was something that had always been obvious but never articulated. What you don't talk about in service, you say it's not okay to talk about. So, it will be a surprise to many here, I'm sure, that I will say the name Charlie Kirk. I mourn the murder of Charlie Kirk, which is not to say he was a good guy, but because he was a human being. Let's be real about this. Yes, he had a wife and kids who loved him. I know he must have had friends who did as well. I have no doubt that he brought gifts and blessings into the lives of some people. But on balance, the life of Charlie Kirk brought far more harm to humanity and to our society. Many lives might have been better were it not for his words and actions. And frankly, it feels like the world is a better place now for many of us. The same is true of Osama bin Laden and Muammar Gaddafi, but I didn't celebrate those killings either. Because to celebrate killing, any killing, is to invalidate the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It reduces a person to their actions, often to one specific action. It denies the redemptive power of love. The actions may represent a facet of who they are, but it can never represent the entirety of the person. I can offer specific examples of neo-Nazis, Klansmen, violent gang members, and others who have undergone a transformation that manifested in their being a blessing and a powerful force of transformation in their own community. It doesn't happen most of the time, but it does happen. And taking a life, whether someone has been convicted of a violent crime or publicly participated in horrific actions or advocated violence, whatever the rationale may be, taking a life is a denial of hope. So I can say I'm not sad about his absence, because his actions brought so much harm. But I do mourn his murder, because the deliberate taking of life manifests a deliberate, intentional denial of possibility, a denial of hope. And even when we can't feel hope, nonetheless, it remains one of the cores of our tradition. Now, our brains need categories to manage the infinite chaos of things. It's a biological need. We need not be ashamed of the ways our minds do that without conscious intent. But this whole good and evil is terribly dangerous. And we must always struggle against these absolutes if we would see clearly and understand well, we must always be erasing or at least perforating the boundaries between categories, especially good and evil. The Unitarian Universalist venture is, at least in part, the work of acknowledging and embracing the non-binariness of reality. There may be some matter or question in which a thing is absolute, always right or always wrong, but if there is, in 60 plus years, I haven't found it. And frankly, the harder I look, the more unlikely it seems that such a thing could exist. So as we are bombarded with political claims and moral judgments masquerading as news, as we work out how best to respond to the impending occupation, under the direction of one who is observably psychopathic and guided by malintent, as we struggle to heal the divisions of hatred and suspicion in a city and in a nation whose history both long past and very recent, is scarred by racist violence. My hope, persistent even in this hard day, my hope remains that we can grow in the spiritual maturity necessary to dwell in that ambiguity. Whether we take the ancients' view that human beings are an image of God, or the admonitions of Jesus of Nazareth to love your neighbor, yes, but also your enemy, or the Buddhist insight of our true oneness, that we are here to awaken from the illusion of separateness, these times call on us like never before to see the humanity in our adversary, to love those who wish our destruction, and to wage peace in all that we do. I ask that you would join me now in singing. Please rise as you are willing and able, and let us sing together number 348. One of my personal favorites, Guide My Feet.
For I don't want to run this race in vain.
Thank you, everyone, for the words and the music. As we extinguish this flame, may the spirit of freedom guide our actions. May equality be our constant pursuit. And may the bonds of community remain strong. May we carry the blessings of acceptance, loving kindness, and a grateful heart with us, that we may offer them to a bruised and hurting world.
As we prepare to go forth from this sacred space, may you be enriched by the wisdom of your ignorance. May your vision be enhanced by your inability to see all. May your questioning itself offer answers that will never come. And may we forever hold one another, protect ourselves and each other, and stand firm in the name of justice and equity, compassion, and love. Our service has ended. May our service begin.